You've decided you want to stop billing hourly for your projects. You're tired of tracking every single minute of your time, or sending awkward time logs to clients, or having clients doubt the hours that you're working on their projects. Either way, you decided you want to charge a flat fee, but here's the problem. You don't do CAD drawings, you don't do 3D renderings or 3D models. Maybe you're a designer who started a business because you're talented, but you've never gone to design school, so you've never actually done any drafting. You potentially have delegated this before, or you tried using a software online that creates somewhat accurate drawings, but now you're getting to the next phase. You want proper CAD packages, blueprints that you can send your contractors and your clients if they need it. How do you estimate a flat fee for work that you've never actually done yourself? And that's exactly what we're going to solve in today's video. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process for building a flat fee that accounts for work you delegate without guessing, without undercharging, and most importantly, without losing money. Hey designers, I'm talking to you from Vietnam. As you can see, my outfit is a bit more casual. I don't have much in my suitcase, but I really wanted to do those videos for you, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please like, comment, and of course subscribe. Okay, so before we get into the numbers, we need to fix something first. The reason most designers struggle to price for flat fee is that they think their product is the deliverable. Your product, it's the transformation. It's the expertise that you bring to the table, your creative direction, the reason why clients pay for your services. The floor plan is just how you communicate that creative direction to the contractor. And the presentation is just how you walk a client through the vision. Those are tools and not the final product. So when you outsource a CAD drawing or a rendering, you're just outsourcing production. And you're still the one deciding what goes where. You're still the one who sources the pieces. You don't have to, but most of the time you love to source the pieces yourself. And you're still the one who understands the client and what they need. This matters because if you think your value is tied to the technical output, you're going to underprice yourself every time you delegate. You're going to think, I didn't do the CAD drawings, I delegated that, so I shouldn't charge the client as much as if I did it myself because it's not my time. It's the time of a CAD technician who has an hourly rate that's cheaper than mine. And that is completely wrong. So step one, before you price anything, get clear on this. You're selling expertise, experience, and execution, not documents. Okay, so next we want to map out our process. And I know a lot of you are going to think, yeah, but my process is intuitive. It changes based on the project, based on the client, but this is just going to lead to scope creep and you doing more than what you were hoping for and the client asking for more because it wasn't clear from the start what was included or not in the package that they purchased. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab a pen and paper and write every step that you're going to take from the moment a client says yes to the moment a project is done. And for most designers, it might look like something like this. You might be doing an initial meeting with the client where you gather more information, you ask them a question, maybe you have a questionnaire for that. Regardless, maybe you have a kickoff call, and then you get into the conceptual phase. Once you have more information, you may be asking them to send you a Pinterest board or images that they like, that they found in magazines, whatever it is. Once you go into the conceptual phase, you may be doing a few mood boards, a few concept boards, rough layouts, maybe space planning. The client gives feedback, then you're going to refine, send it back until the direction feels right to them. The technical phase might be happening at the same time. You're going to work on space planning and then get into more details as the client approves the design. Then you get into more details and that needs to be in proper drawings. And then comes sourcing and then you're going to present your ideas. All of this should be on paper. Your process should kind of always be the same. It might differ if it's an e-design project as opposed to a full build, but you should have a process for those specific projects and you should follow the same process every single time. So from that piece of paper with all these steps in your process, you're going to decide what is yours to do, the things that you're great at doing, that the client is paying you for, and then all the things that you don't know how to do, that's what you're going to delegate. So maybe highlight those tasks in red, and that's what you need help pricing. But once you see it all laid out like this, it doesn't look as scary because you're now looking at only two clear buckets. So what we're going to do is we're going to scope the project room by room. And this is where most designers start to underprice themselves into losing money. They treat every project like it needs the same deliverables, but it often doesn't. Not every room needs a full set of drawings. Not every space needs a render. You have to evaluate based on the needs of each room. And let's look at a real example. Let's say that you're working on a home with the kitchen update, a powder room refresh, and a large living room redesign. For the kitchen, we're reconfiguring the layout, maybe adding a banquette that needs floor plans, probably elevations, maybe an elevation of the backsplash, and cabinet layout. That is real technical work. Every time you have joinery, you should have proper drawings for that. For the living room, you're doing a full furniture plan with multiple seating areas. That needs a proper floor plan with layout options. Now, let's look at the powder room. It's nothing major, you're just replacing the mirror, adding a coat of paint, and switching out the light fixture that is going to be in the exact same place as the one that's currently sitting there. Does that need a drawing? Maybe not, you just need to specify the products and tell the installer where that goes. And the same goes for 3D renders. You may want to include a 3D render for rooms where you're doing tons of work, you're redesigning the whole space completely, and you're worried that your clients are going to have trouble visualizing. If it's just changing the paint color and a few accessories, maybe a 2D colored elevation is enough. So before you price for a flat fee, make sure you understand the needs of each room, of the space as a whole, and then decide what the deliverables are going to be for each one. And to avoid scope creep down the line, you're going to also include what is excluded from the project scope so that clients don't come back later with more requests that were not included from the get-go. For instance, the project does not include architectural or structural drawings, permit applications, site management, or procurement. If you don't define what is out, the client is just going to assume that everything is in. And that's how flat fee becomes unlimited work for a fixed price. So far, you've mapped out your process, you know which deliverables are yours and which one you're going to be delegating, and you've scoped the project per room so you know exactly what is going to be delivered to the clients. Now you need the actual numbers for the work that you're going to be delegating. So if you're working with a freelancer or an outsourcing team like mine, ask them what it's going to cost. You're clear about the deliverables. You already have basic information from the client as to what they like, what they're looking for, and what the needs are for the project. So you can already ask your technical team a very rough estimate of the work that is involved so that you can start building a quote that is going to make sense. Because experts who have done this type of project before will know roughly how long it's going to take them to draw that floor plan based on the complexity and the size. They also know what elevations are going to take them, or 3D renders, and it's going to be rough. It's not going to be completely accurate. They might be a little bit off, but it's your job to take their estimate and make sure you include a buffer so that anything that comes up during the design, maybe it's a bit more complex, or maybe you need an extra detailed drawing for one of the rooms, then at least the buffer is going to cover the extra costs. And here's the thing, once you've worked on 3 to 5 projects or more projects with the same person or team, you're going to start building your own reference sheet. And this is what's been happening with our clients. We have had clients working with us for 5 years now, so they know exactly what we're going to be estimating for a specific type of project. They already built the estimate and then they ask us to confirm, and they're spot on every single time. And that's why it's important that you have that time as a business owner to keep track of everything, understand the data, understand what mistakes you made on previous projects so that they don't happen in the next project. Okay, it's time to put it all together now. Your flat fee is not one number you're gonna pull from thin air, as we saw. It's built in layers and each layer has a purpose. Okay, so layer one is gonna be your personal time. It's all those things that you're gonna be doing yourself: client meetings, site visits, concept development, sourcing, the presentations to the clients, the site supervision and all the meetings with the contractors, maybe the procurement as well. You know roughly how many hours that's gonna take because you've been doing that before. So you estimate the hours and you multiply by your hourly rate. Even if you don't bill your clients hourly, you need to know how much time it takes you to do all those things. So if you charge $150, for example, and you estimated that it's going to take 20 hours, it's going to be around 3K in your personal cost, your personal like director cost. Layer two is going to be everything that you're going to delegate. And that's great because you're going to get the estimate from your team or from your freelancer, and you're going to multiply that by your hourly rate as well. Because the goal is for you to still get a margin on the hours that you're going to delegate. So let's say our team is $78 per hour and you're $150 per hour, you're still going to make some money on the hours that you delegate. Layer three is your overhead allocation. So this is really important because you have fixed costs for running your business, all the software subscriptions, insurance, your website, maybe if you rent a place for your studio. Add up your fixed costs during the year, and then you're going to split that by the number of projects that you usually take for that same year, and that gives you a per project overhead number. Layer four is your profit margin and buffer. Profit is not what's left over, it's what you plan for. And the healthy target for small business owners is about 40%. This layer is also going to absorb revision rounds, communication time with your team that you're going to brief, you're going to give them feedback, unexpected complications, and that's how you're going to calculate this. You're going to add layers 1 through 3 together for your total project costs. Then you're going to multiply by 1 plus your desired profit margin. So let's say we have 3,000 personal time plus 1,800 outsourcing work. Then you have 670 overhead. That's about 5,500 total cost. That is just the cost of running the project. Now you're going to multiply by 1.35 for 35% margin, and you get roughly about 7,385. We can round that up to 7,400, and that is your flat fee. You have a real number that's backed by real costs and a real profit margin. And that formula is going to work for a $5,000 project or a $50,000 project. A bigger project has more rooms, more deliverables, more outsourced work. But at the end of the day, the structure stays the same. Okay, you now have a solid flat fee. But a flat fee without boundaries is a recipe for scope creep, as I said before. And scope creep is the number one reason designers lose a lot of money on projects, so we do want to avoid that. First, you're going to define your deliverables clearly. The clients need to know exactly what they're going to be receiving. If it's not on the list, it's not included. So if you're going to do 2 concept boards, say you're going to do 2 concept boards, how many floor plans, how many elevations, how many renders, just include everything that you are going to be delivering to them. Then second, we want to say what a revision is, because a revision is not a full redesign. And you have to define it because otherwise everything is going to be, I need one more small tweak. So you could say that you're going to include 2 rounds of revisions in your flat fee, and you're going to define what a revision is, and that can be the same definition in every single proposal that you're going to send. And then you're going to say what happens when you have used those 2 rounds of revision. Each additional round of revision is going to be billed hourly for this rate, or if it's a bit bigger than a revision, you may want to send a new proposal outlining the new work that's been requested. And that's number 3. Have a plan for out-of-scope requests. So you're working on a project and then the client says, well, actually, I would love for you to work on the guest bedroom as well. And that wasn't part of the original scope. And what you can just tell them is, that's a great idea. It currently falls outside the current scope. I can add it as an additional service for this much. So you're going to see the price. Do you want to move forward? Or you can say, that's a great idea, it's out of scope, I'm going to send you a new proposal later, and you can let me know if you want to move forward. Okay, before we stop this video, I want to touch on something that is also very important, and it has to do with the way that you're going to brief your team, because it's going to directly impact how much money from your flat fee you get to keep. See, from working with tons of designers, what we've noticed is that sometimes the brief is not clear enough. Some information might be missing, or they forget to send us documents, and of course then the deliverable is missing something important, and they only realize once the work was done, which means that we need to work on it again, losing time and wasting money that was not included in the original scope. So it's not about wasting 5 hours of your time making sure that nothing is missing, and then you feel like you could have done it yourself, even though, from this video, you don't know how to do those drawings, but it's about making sure that your brief is clear so that the team who is going to be working on that part of the project delivers what you're expecting of them. And as part of this, I have tools that I give my clients using AI so that they can create clear briefs in a very short amount of time. They don't need to spend hours on a brief, and it's going to help them make sure that the project can move forward without wasting time. Last thing, once you have your standard flat fee covering your main deliverables, build yourself as well an add-on menu. That's just a little tip. You don't have to do that, but it's a simple internal list of extras that you can offer at a set price when clients are asking for more. You don't need to include renderings into every flat fee unless you're doing very high-end, then I absolutely recommend that you have it. Sometimes it's just about having it as an add-on so clients can decide if they want it or not. Procurement could be another one. Okay, I know it was a long video, but here's what I want to do now that you've gone through the entire video. I want you to sit down and map out your actual design process from start to finish. Then you're going to flag everything that you want to delegate. You're going to find yourself someone if you don't have anyone you're delegating to right now, and you're going to start working with them to understand those estimates. And then on your next project, you're going to go through this exact same framework that we went through with the formula, where I show you how to build your flat fee, how to add the buffer and the margin, so you're not just covering your costs, but you're actually making a profit on top of it. Your process is definitely your power. And if you're a designer who needs a little bit more help building this flat fee or building your process, get in touch with my team, because we work with designers one-on-one to do just that. I'll see you in the next video.